Good morning and welcome to Member Focus Monday. I'm Christina Schaefer, Director of Social Media for HAR, and I'm excited this morning to be joined by HAR Safety Task Force member or chair, along with a lot of other titles, Mike Wong. Welcome to the program, Mike.
Good morning. Thank you for having me, Christina.
Absolutely. We're excited for everything that you have to share today. As we know, September is Realtor Safety Month, and there are a lot of resources and tools and tips and all kinds of things that you have to share with our members today. So we're excited to hear from you and really happy that you could take the time to join us.
Absolutely.
Before we get into the rest of the show, I do want to announce that this week's A Member Focus Monday and HAR On the Move podcast are sponsored by Johnson Development Company. Johnson Development Company empowers realtors from their Realtor University event calendar, their Realtor Showcase brochure with inventory and resources for the 15 Johnson Development communities across the Houston area, and other ways they are an asset to you. They're valued realtor partners. Look for Tammy McCall and Monica Conchola at this year's HAR Engage conference or visit the JDC Realtor Hub for more details. Thank you to Johnson Development Company for sponsoring today.
I'd like to thank them also. Johnson Development actually hosted a couple of my safety classes, so they're a great part of the realtor community.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. And we're going to talk about some of your safety classes today, too. But before we do, Mike, tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, and what you do.
Okay. My name's Mike Wong. I'm a commercial realtor. I also serve on HAR as a commercial director. You mentioned before, I lead the HAR Safety Task Force, and I serve as Texas Realtor Regional Vice President, past chair of Asian American Real Estate Association, and a couple of years ago, I became a realtor safety instructor.
Very good. What inspired you to become a realtor safety instructor?
You know, it's something we hear about every day, and there's not very many resources locally on it. There doesn't seem to be very many classes covering it when I started. So it's something I felt like there's a gap that I could fill in and bring value to our members with.
And it's something that you're obviously passionate about, too. Very good.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about the Safety Task Force. What is the goal of the HAR Safety Task Force, and how is it formed?
Sure. So our goal is to educate and provide our members with tools, training, news, and resources. We assess safety risk and fraud trends to alert members of what's happening in our local industry. So we want to cover personal safety for agents, cybersecurity and fraud, as well as consumer safety. It's put together, well, we were appointed by Jennifer Wabhab, and it's a group of volunteers from HR members to staff members. So I want to take that opportunity as well to kind of thank the HR staff, my fellow committee members, and especially you, Christina. There's a lot that goes into this task force behind the scenes with just different departments of HAR that coordinate, and they give us updates on what's going on in different segments, so we kind of know where we need to focus on things as they flare up. So thank you for all the extra time and energy you dedicate to us.
Absolutely. Well, it's such an important topic, and it's something our members really do need education and resources on. So, let's talk about some of the things that you're seeing here locally. I know that you were just telling me before we went live that you get phone calls. You got a phone call just this weekend about different things that are going on. What are some of the safety threats and scams that you're seeing affect Houston area realtors right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So this morning I heard a voicemail that came in over the weekend asking for advice on meeting a prospect. And this agent said there were several red flags and she didn't know what to do. So the good thing is she trusted her gut. Those red flags, obviously concern her, and she wanted to make a phone call for an opinion. If you don't feel right, take precautions. You can bring somebody with you. You can meet at your office first and ask for a copy of their ID, and you can take steps to kind of vet them a little bit further, or you can refer them and just be upfront to the person you're referring them to about what set off those bells and whistles. Um, Thankfully, we haven't seen too much as far as personal safety threats recently. I did see a few calls about, or I did see a few posts in our platinum group about suspicious callers. But agents are reacting well to those now. They're reporting the incident. They're getting the details in, and they're making others aware of it, so we can react and respond to those as well.
Okay.
Um, there's the old text message scam that people are getting from somebody impersonating their broker or their manager asking for Apple gift cards. And the latest thing I see kind of everywhere is people are getting these messages on WeChat, just starting a conversation, pretending to be interested in real estate, and then all of a sudden it turns into something else where it's like a crypto sale
Mm.
or something like that. Locally from HAR, we are still seeing lot scam sales happening. Um, Scammers are contacting agents to list properties on MLS while impersonating the legal sellers with either fake IDs or fake documents and information to get a property listed and sold without the real owners knowing. They're often targeting vacant lots belonging to owners out of state. And so that's been a big thing this year. We kind of, I think Nathan reported, it's kind of tapered off, but I'm not sure if we're just not reporting all those coming in,
Mm.
or if it's really tapering off. But I did hear a story from another Texas realtor agent, and it actually got kind of scary. She experienced the same thing. Um, she told me an occupied home was targeted by scammers,
Mm.
and the home appeared on Zillow and other for sale by owner websites. And the homeowners had no idea why so many people were approaching their home and ringing their doorbell and knocking on their door to want to see their home, and they were afraid to answer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so this realtor got involved, and she wanted to be an advocate for them. So she alerted authorities, and she started working on getting the listings removed from the different websites. Now, here's the scary part: that realtor started getting phone calls from random numbers telling her where she was at that moment and that she was being watched and followed.
Oh my
And
goodness.
so they actually called her while she was driving down the freeway and told her to pull over into a store that she was passing.
Mm.
Uh, So she believes this is a sophisticated organized crime syndicate and has reached out to authorities and the FBI. But it just shows that criminals are getting more and more advanced, and it's becoming more of a threat to our industry and possibly us as realtors.
Wow, that is very scary, but it's something again to be aware of. And you said that took place in South Texas.
That took place in South Texas. Yes.
Hmm. Any others?
We're Go ahead. Um, we were made aware of deed and title frauds. People file fake deeds, and the reason why is they can take out a home equity line of credit on some of those
Mm.
properties. And I subscribe. It's weird. I subscribe to scams and fraud and crime in Houston on YouTube, so it fills up my feed. And there's a local story about a son who deeded his parents' home to a investor, and his parents had made mortgage payments for about 20 years, and they had no idea. And so it just shows, I don't want to say you can't trust anybody, but it just shows, that these things are happening even with people that you do know and you do trust.
Hmm.
Um, Rental scams are still prevalent in our market.
Hmm.
Um, your listings are showing up on Craigslist and other websites. Your homes may not be for lease, but they're being advertised for lease. They may use your photos, or they may take their own photos, and they advertise them much lower than the market value, often requesting people to mail their deposits or electronically send their deposits, and they'll mail the keys.
Hmm.
So to be careful on that. I know we talked a little bit, and we basically said if it's too good to be true, it probably is.
Absolutely.
No.
Yes, very good. Well, thank you for making us aware of those. And I'm seeing some comments come in about how frightening that is, and I certainly agree, especially with how sophisticated that seems to be getting. There's always misconceptions when it comes to safety, and I know these vary from time to time. What are some common misconceptions that you hear regarding realtor safety?
Well, the good thing is when I teach, I get real time feedback and I get real time opinions, and so you'll get people who aren't concerned but they need CE credit. You'll get people who are very concerned and still need the CE credit. Um, so I get to hear a lot of opinions, and one opinion I heard is avoid bad areas. And the truth is, crime happens everywhere. If you just watch the news, you'll see it going on all over town, and especially the great areas. Criminals are mobile and they're looking for big scores, so they're not going to be in those bad areas looking. They're going to be in good areas too, looking for We're good, easy targets. Um, Another misconception is it won't happen to me. Okay. And so, looking at the statistics, last year, an interview with the NAR Safety Advisory Committee chair, she said in an interview over 60,000 realtors have been a victim of assault, rape, robbery, or murder.
Mm.
Okay. Houston has just over 49,000 members. So, with NAR at 60,000, that represents just 4% of the membership that reported the incident to NAR. And we know there's some incidents that don't go reported as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Another misconception is I have a code word. And guys, let's get these code words updated. A lot of people will say, "Hey, give me the red file, give me the red envelope," and safety. We've talked about it so much, and we put it on YouTube on just to get the information out there on how to keep
Mm-hmm.
agents safe. And so criminals hear that too. When they hear the red file or the red folder, they kind of know, okay, that's the code word. You know what's going on. So you need something new. You need to have your staff and your emergency contacts trained on what to listen for if you give that code word. So
Mm-hmm.
that's I have a script in my class that I give everybody that my co-instructor uses, and so I'll share some more scripts in class as well on how to generate new code words or phrases and how to incorporate more detail without alerting that person.
Great.
Um, let's see. One more misconception is, I carry a weapon to defend myself with, and that's a personal choice. A lot of people carry different things from pepper
Mm-hmm.
spray to a firearm, and so are you trained and comfortable with that weapon? And if you're in a high stress situation, our blood pressure goes up, our nerves get rattled, you may be shaky, you may be panicked. Can you use it proficiently in a high stress situation,
Mm-hmm.
or can it be used against you? The other thing I hear is, oh, I carry it in my purse or I keep it in my
Mm-hmm.
car. And you may be in an open house, you may be in a property. Is your means to defend yourself actually with you?
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, what's the repercussion if you do use something? If you use pepper spray, if you use a weapon, and you harm somebody, what's the legal recourse for that?
Very good. Well, and I know that we're going to talk a little bit later about your class that you teach and that you have coming up, and bet you answer some of those questions in that class. So, yeah,
Absolutely.
very good. Well, I would love to hear from you before you even have the class. Some tips that you have for realtors. What are some things that realtors can be doing to protect themselves?
Sure. So, criminals, like we said, they're getting more sophisticated, from rental scams, lot scams, even bank juggings, hacking, and stalking now. So, we need to stay updated to be aware of trends that we're seeing, and HAR is providing a lot of resources for that. Um, just be aware and alert of what's going on out there and around you. Um, you've probably seen some of the safety videos that we're releasing this month with our committee members. And one of them is have a plan. Do you have a plan to escape an emergency when you're inside of a property? Do you have an emergency contact that you can signal to that something's wrong? Um, and the number one thing that I see, just not in real estate but just out in general, are these cell phones. So many people are distracted by cell phones, and when you're
Mm-hmm.
walking through a parking lot, you're checking your email, or you're on a call, or you're looking at social media. uh, I'll ask you not to do that when you're meeting strangers. So many people, it's so obvious now. So many people, you see people trip and fall and walk into things now because they're on their cell phones. But you just want to be alert and aware of what's around you. And if you're on a distracting call,
Mm-hmm.
you may not realize you're walking into a dangerous situation without realizing it. And you know, it, I'll talk about it in class, but there's even one incident. I wasn't on my phone. I was just in a hurry to get to my next space, and I ran right into the middle of an armed robbery without realizing it. So,
Oh my
just
gosh.
that's why I'm going to emphasize situational safety. Being aware and alert of what's going on around you. And I was a naive kid when I did that,
Mm-hmm.
but now that I'm older, I definitely look around and know what's going on around me before I go anywhere. Um, I'll say verify your prospects. Insist on meeting them in a public space for the first time, whether it's at your office or at a Starbucks with other people, or have them meet with your lender to pre-qualify with their information. That's a
Mm-hmm.
great way to get them in. Your lender will ask for their details and run it for you. And that, most people with malicious intent, they're not going to want to give you their name, their identity, and all that to a lender before they do something to you. And then you can always look them up on social media and kind of see what comes up under their name and profile if they're out there. Um, Next, plan your open houses. Invite a lender, invite a partner, invite a new agent to be there with you so you're not there alone. Um, don't walk ahead of your visitors with your back to them,
Hmm.
and avoid going into dead end spaces like closets or bathrooms with no exits. And just, again, have an emergency escape plan should something come up and you need to get out of the home quickly.
Very good. Well, because I know you're a commercial specialist, is there anything you'd add to that list for commercial realtors or realtors who deal with maybe land and lots?
Yes. So, with land and lots, you're way out in the middle of nowhere, and it's going to take a while for any help to get there, right? And sometimes you don't have good cell phone reception. So, you just want to be careful. You want to plan and maybe look at where you're going on Google Maps before you get
Hmm.
there. When you're showing vacant buildings, I've had incidents where I've walked in on squatters and warehouses, um, or or I go to some of these areas where I see gunshot holes in the building.
Mm.
I will drive around the perimeter of that building before I go in. I will drive around the block before I go in. I'll look at other properties, see if they've been vandalized or anything like that, because I kind of want to know. And I'll
Hmm.
make a lot of noise outside before I go in, so anybody in there will know that, hey, there's somebody outside.
Yeah.
I don't want to sneak up on somebody. I don't want somebody to be surprised when I walk in.
Hmm.
Um, but you have to use your judgment. If you get that gut feeling that something doesn't feel right, maybe you just step back and um, you see something wrong, like a broken window or something going on. Maybe you step back and call the authorities before you enter a place like that. You definitely want to warn your client.
Okay, very good. I see some comments and questions coming in that I want to take a moment for. If you have questions for Mike, please type those in and we'll get to as many as we can. Alicia just said these are great ideas. Dina said great information. A couple questions that I saw come in. Jessica asked, "Where can I report fraud? I just had one. I just had one on a lease property. Fake credit report, fake pay stubs, etc."
Definitely let us know at HAR, just so we're aware of what's going on out there. And guys, there's a lot of this happening out there. I feel like leases are easy targets. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
commercial guy, but I own a few rental properties. I like to lease them out myself. The last property I tried to lease myself, the first week there were no applications for the first 5 days. The sixth day, I started getting bombarded with applications, and within like 3 or 4 days, I had over 60 applications on the home. Most of them were incomplete, but about 20 of those were just fake. They're
Mm-hmm.
fake IDs. They're out of state. The credit report wasn't matching up with the name, and there's a lot of stuff missing. So,
Mm-hmm.
if you see that, let us know, so we know how to react to it. And we can kind of see where it's trending and things like that.
Okay, very good. Demetria also had a question. Do you believe the increased usage of avatars and ChatGPT is fertile soil for scammers to intimidate? If so, what are your recommendations to verify authenticity?
Ooh, that one's going to be a little bit hard, right? It's what I said. Scammers are getting a lot more sophisticated and trying to figure out how to hide behind these things, right? They're even able to mask their IPs or shift IPs and things like that. You just got to be diligent. If they're making it difficult, that should be a red flag.
Hmm.
If they don't want you to see their photo, that should be a red flag. Just be aware of these things. When you start peeling off these layers, if it gets harder and harder and more challenging, that's your big red flag that you may be dealing with somebody who is going to be a problem.
Okay. One thing that I've heard some people say in regard to what Dimitri was asking was request a video call. If they refuse to get
Yes,
on Zoom or a video call with you, there's a huge red flag. Another
yes.
question that just came in from Lisa. She said, how can you tell if an ID is fake?"
How can you tell? Well, like I said, they're getting better, right?
Uh-huh.
Some of the obvious tells are if you look at it on your computer screen and you've got a big monitor like me because you don't see very well anymore and you don't wear glasses like your doctor tells you to. You blow it up and you notice like difference in the font.
Mm.
Sometimes a name is a different font than the address or some of the other details on there. Um, look at the numbering compared to the lettering to see if there's any differences there. Look at the size of the font as well, and look for the picture and make sure it's not an overlay or something like that. They are getting better. Um, I saw a fake ID from Tennessee that looked really, really legit. A sheriff ran it, and it was for a guy in Mississippi. The name matched a guy in Mississippi who was 70 years old, and the ID was for a 30 something year old here from Tennessee, leasing in Texas.
Yep, there you go. Well, very good. Thank you. If you have any other questions for Mike, type those in and we will get to as many as we can. So, Mike, there are local resources available to our members. So, what resources do you recommend that all Houston area realtors get acquainted with?
Absolutely. That's HAR, guys. That's HAR.com/safety. We're trying to get better at putting a lot of information up there for you guys. There's also a couple apps that we have. We have HAR Safe Showing app and a verified user app that's free to our members. Um, Also, you can check har.com/tips to hear the latest on rental scams. We have billboard campaigns going on around town, and we have rental scam tips available in Spanish and English from HAR. So we're trying to get everything covered here. We know scams are getting more and more sophisticated, but we're trying to stay on top of it, and that's with your feedback, guys.
Very good. And we did share some of those links in the comments, hr.com/safety and hr.com/tips. On hr.com/tips, you'll see it's also a partnership with Crime Stoppers of Houston to get the information about rental scams out there to consumers. And again, there's resources there in English and Spanish, as Mike said. So speaking of resources, there is a new resource available to MLS subscribers as of today. So, Mike, tell us all about it.
Yes, so I'm really excited about this. On behalf of all the work behind the scenes by HAR, I'm excited to announce that a new tool is available called Forewarn, and it will be available free for all of our HAR MLS subscribers. This just shows HAR's commitment to our safety and the added service at no extra cost to our members. Forewarn is a tool that it lets you enter a phone number and email into a database, and you don't have to have the email. You can enter the phone number alone, but the email will add extra verification there. It's going to instantly give you detailed information about the caller. It's going to let you know their identity. It's going to let you know their address, potential financial data, and criminal records and other details. And you'll be able to assess risk and verify prospects. Now, phone numbers will positively identify over 80% of the callers, and adding an email increases it. I can't know the exact stat, but it's over 90%. So it's a very, very good system. And this is just another layer in your due diligence. Just like, on a property, verify the square footage, the year built, the tax records. This gives you a tool to verify your prospects as well now. So we do want everybody to use this tool. There's a lot that went on to get this, and it's pretty costly, but we were able to do it and provide it for our subscribers. So, if something comes up on the system about a prospect, it doesn't mean you can't help them. Everybody needs a home. So if they have a bankruptcy, get them pre-qualified, or maybe they're going to be a rental prospect until they get fixed. If they have a criminal record, you know, the red flags will show up, and then you've got to make a decision. You can refer them to somebody if you're not comfortable, but let that referral know while you're referring it and see if they're comfortable. Or you can take extra steps. You can bring somebody with you, and you can meet with them in public places, things like that. And an interesting story is an agent from El Paso used Forewarn, and the prospect showed that the data showed the prospect had a criminal background. And so she brought her son and husband with her to the first appointment. And the prospect was upfront with the agent and disclosed that he served time and he did purchase a home through her. So, it's going to show you a lot. And the good thing is if you'll detect it right away, right? And then you can make an educated decision on how you want to handle that lead and prospect.
Well, that is excellent. And I can tell by the comments our members are really excited. This is amazing. This is so exciting. Thank you, HAR. This is great news. So very excellent, great resource for all of our members, Chanel said. Danny said, where can we find the new feature? So we did share a link in the comments, harconnect.com/forewarn. There's all the information that you need to get set up on Forewarn. We encourage you to do that right after this show is over. Go get yourself set up so that you can start using this new service. And again, as Mike said, this is available to all HAR MLS subscribers. So again, harconnect.com/forewarn. So, Mike, we kind of teased this already a little bit, but you have a class coming up. So what are some educational opportunities available to our members coming up here very soon?
Yes. So I'm excited about this as well. On Wednesday, September 27th, I'll be teaching Safety Has No Asking Price at HER Central. It'll be an in-person class. There's 2 hours of CE credit included. And we're going to talk about best practices, just when you're out showing and what to do, kind of the tips I mentioned before, and some other ones. We're going to talk about situational awareness. Again, knowing what's going on around you, knowing what you're walking into. We're going to identify risk. I'm going to give you guys a couple real possible scenarios that can possibly happen in a home, just to kind of make you think, right? We get caught up in this bubble of doing the best job for our clients that we don't always think about ourselves. And so I want you to think about yourself and your safety a little bit while you're out there. And then we're going to some of the legal liabilities that we may face defending ourselves. So that class is going to be in person Wednesday, September 27th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. You can go to HER, the Education Finder tab, and search safety and be able to sign up there.
Very good. Well, I'm registered for the class. I'm really looking forward to it myself. But yes, and it is approved, as you mentioned, for 2 hours of continuing ed. It's an in-person class at HAR Central. And I do know that seating is limited. So for those of you that are tuned in, we did share the link in the comments. Please go secure your seat today. And we just shared also in the chat, you can use code FALL2023 to save $20, which is the price of the course. So that would be great, something great to go check out.
Awesome.
Very good. Go ahead, Mike. Were you going to say something else?
No, I'm looking forward to the class. I've taught it for 2 years, and I kind of update it just based on feedback and things I'm hearing from other agents who've taken it, kind of letting me know different situations out there. I know we talk so much about realtor safety, but I want to emphasize it's not just realtor safety; it's safety in general. It's you when you're out at the store. It's you when you're out with your family, and just you out, doing your job. It's so many things happen all around us, and so that's what this class is for. It's just to make sure our members are safe and they're aware and alert of what's going on out there.
Very good. And I did just want to mention, because I know I see our members thanking HAR in the comments about Forewarn, but I know, and Mike, this has been one of the most highly requested benefits by our membership. So we do want to thank the HRIS Board of Directors for making this possible for MLS subscribers at no additional cost.
Yes.
And I know a few of them are tuned in this morning, so I want to make sure that we thank them for that, because again, you and I both have seen over the years members asking for this feature, so we're really excited.
Yes.
Very good. And I do see a few people saying they are registered for your class, Mike, so they are excited.
Awesome.
So Mike, as we near the end here, I'd love to hear just what are your top takeaways, if anything that somebody remembers from today's show, what would you like them to remember?
Yeah, absolutely. So, just be aware of scams. Don't let your guard down online or in person. Be aware of your surroundings when you're out. Okay. That situational awareness, and not just when you're in real estate, but even, we hear about things happening at grocery stores and things like that, shopping malls. So just be aware of what's going on around you and who's around you. Forewarn is now available for all MLS subscribers. So, guys, that's exciting. That was a big ticket item, and we're able to bring that to all of our members without additional cost. So, please, like I said, thank HAR, thank the HRIS staff. That's something that we've wanted for a long time, and now we have. Take advantage of it. And follow HAR for alerts and tools and resources that we have. We're trying to get ahead of this and stay way ahead of it. The more information we get from you guys to know what's happening out there, the more we're able to share it with our members and figure out a way to kind of counteract it. You wouldn't believe all the staff at HAR that reports and shares information with our committee with us, to kind of let us know what they're seeing and what they're hearing. So, and finally, register for the class. I hope to see everybody there and share what I know and what I've learned with you, and try and make it fun. I know talking about safety and risk and danger is not fun. I try to make it fun. There may be instances where I'm swinging your baseball bat and things like that, but I'm just showing you tips and what to do in different situations. But I hope to see everybody there.
Very good. Well, thank you. Just a couple comments that I wanted to mention. Cindy Heyman, she immediately went to go sign up for Forewarn and was getting an error because you must use the email address that you have on file with HAR to sign up. So just wanted to mention that. And thank you, Cindy, for letting us know so that we can get that information out there as well. Terry Munn just said, thank you for reminding us to always be vigilant and be aware of our surroundings. It is so easy to become complacent. This is great information. So again, Mike, we thank you for everything that you shared today. Our members are really happy and very appreciative of everything that you shared.
Well, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be on, and thank you to our sponsor, Johnson Development, as well.
Absolutely. Just again, wanted to remind everyone that this week's Member Focus Monday and the HAR On the Move podcast were sponsored by Johnson Development Company. Johnson Development Company empowers realtors from their Realtor University events calendar, their Realtor Showcase brochure with inventory and resources for the 15 Johnson Development communities across the Houston area, and the other ways they are an asset to you. They are valued realtor partners. Be on the lookout for Tammy McCall and Monica Conchola at this year's HAR Engage conference, or you can visit the JDC Realtor Hub for more information. So again, Mike, thank you for your time this morning. We've got a lot of thank yous coming up in the comments. Our members are really happy with what you had to share. And for those members that were excited to hear from Mike today, you will be excited for next week's guest as well. Next week, we are going to be speaking with Tracy, the safety lady, Hawkins. She has been on this program before. She travels the country to speak to associations everywhere about different safety threats that we might see going on around the country. She also hosts a podcast for NAR, so she's going to tell us about some NAR resources available to us, and as well as different threats going on around the country that could potentially affect us here in Houston. So mark your calendars next Monday at 9 a.m. to hear from Tracy. Mike, again, just wanted to thank you for everything you shared today. Looking forward to your class, and thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me, Christina.
Absolutely. Well, that is it for this Member Focus Monday. We'll see you next Monday at 9 a.m. Have a great week, everyone. Bye-bye.